The Seven Dials Mystery, Chapter 30. An Urgent Summons. Lorraine, playing with a small and delectable puppy, was somewhat surprised when Bundle rejoined her after an absence of 20 minutes. In a breathless state and with an indescribable expression on her face. "Woof," said Bundle, sinking onto a garden seat. "Woof, what's the matter?" asked Lorraine, looking at her curiously. "George is the matter, George Lomax. What's he been doing? Proposing to me? It was awful. He spluttered and he stuttered, but he would go through with it. He must have learnt it out of a book, I think. There was no stopping him. Oh, how I hate men who splutter, and, unfortunately, I didn't know the reply. You must have known what you wanted to do. Naturally, I'm not going to marry an apoplectic idiot like George. What I mean is, I didn't know the correct reply from the Book of Etiquette. Could only just say flatly, no, I won't. What I ought to have said was something about being very sensible of the honor he had done me, and so on and so on. But I got so rattled that in the end I jumped out of the window and bolted. Really, Bundle? That's not like you? Well, I never dreamt of such a thing happening. George, who I always thought hated me, and he did too. What a fatal thing it is to pretend to take an interest in a man's pet subject. You should have heard the drivel George talked about my girlish mind and the pleasure it would be to form it. My mind, if George knew 1/4 of what was going on in my mind, he'd faint with horror." Lorraine laughed. She couldn't help it. "Oh, I know it's my own fault. I let myself in for this. There's Father dodging round that rhododendron. Hello, Father." Father Lord Caterham approached with a hangdog expression. "Lomax gone, eh?" remarked with somewhat forced geniality. "A nice business you let me in for," said Bundle. "George told me he had your full approval and sanction." "Well," said Lord Caterham, "what did you expect me to say?" "As a matter of fact, I didn't say that at all, or anything like it. I didn't really think so," said Bundle. "I assumed that George had talked you into a corner, and reduced you to such a state that you could only nod your head feebly. That's very much what happened. How did he take it?" "Badly. I didn't wait to see," said Bundle. "I'm afraid I was rather abrupt." "Oh well," said Lord Caterham, "perhaps that was the best way. Thank goodness in the future, Lomax. Whoa, and always be running over as he has been in the habit of doing, worrying me about things. Everything is for the best, they say. Have you seen my jigger anywhere? A mashy shot or two would steady my nerves, I think," said Bundle. "I'll take you on for 6pence, Lorraine." Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. An hour passed very peacefully. The three returned to the house in a harmonious spirit. A note lay on the hall table. "Mr. Lomax left that for you, my lord," explained Treadwell. "He was much disappointed to find that you had gone out." Lord Caterham tore it open. He uttered a pained ejaculation and turned upon his daughter. Treadwell had retired. "Really, Bundle, you might have made yourself clear, I think. What do you mean we'll read this?" Bundle took it and read. "My dear Caterham, I am sorry not to have had a word with you. I thought I made it clear that I wanted to see you again after my interview with Eileen. She, dear child, was evidently quite unaware of the feelings I entertained towards her. She was, I am afraid, much startled. I have no wish to hurry her in any way. Her girlish confusion was very charming, and I entertain an even higher regard for her, as I much appreciate her maidenly reserve. I must give her time to become accustomed to the idea. Her very confusion shows that she is not wholly indifferent to me, and I have no doubts of my ultimate success. Believe me, dear Caterham, your sincere friend, George Lomax." "Well," said Bundle. "Well, I'm damned." Words failed her. "The man must be mad," said Lord Caterham. "No one could write those things about you, Bundle, unless they were slightly touched in the head. Poor chap, poor chap. But what persistence! I don't wonder he got into the cabinet. Would serve him right if you did marry him, Bundle." The telephone rang, and Bundle moved forward to answer it. In another minute, George and his proposal were forgotten, and she was beckoning eagerly to Lorraine. Lord Caterham went off to his own sanctum. "It's Jimmy," said Bundle, "and he's tremendously excited about something." "Thank goodness I've caught you," said Jimmy's voice. "There's no time to be lost. Lorraine's there too. Yes, she's here. Well, look here. I haven't got time to explain everything. In fact, I can't through the telephone. But Bill has been round to see me with the most amazing story you ever heard. If it's true, well, if it's true, it's the biggest scoop of the century. Look here. This is what you've got to do. Come up to town at once, both of you. Garage the car somewhere and go straight to the Seven Dials Club. Do you think that when you get there you can get rid of that footman fellow?" Alfred, rather, you leave that to me. Good. Get rid of him and watch out for me and Bill. Don't show yourselves at the windows. But when we drive up, let us in at once. See? Yes, that's all right then. Oh, Bundle, don't let on that you're going up to town. Make some other excuse. Say you're taking Lorraine home. How would that do? Splendidly, say Jimmy. I'm thrilled to the core. And you might as well make your will before starting. Better and better, but I wish I knew what it was all about. You will as soon as we meet. I tell you this much. We're going to get ready the hell of a surprise for no. 7. Bundle hung up the receiver and turned to Lorraine, giving her a rapid resume of the conversation. Lorraine rushed upstairs and hurriedly packed her suitcase, and Bundle put her head round her father's door. I'm taking Lorraine home, Father. Why? I had no idea she was going today. They want her back, said Bundle vaguely. Just telephone bye-bye here? Bundle, wait a minute. When will you be home? Don't know. Expect me when you see me. With this unceremonious exit, Bundle rushed upstairs, put a hat on, slipped into her fur coat, and was ready to start. She had already ordered the Hispano to be brought round. The journey to London was without adventure, except such as was habitually provided by Bundle's driving. They left the car at a garage and proceeded direct to the Seven Dials Club. The door was opened to them by Alfred. Bundle pushed her way past him without ceremony, and Lorraine followed. Shut the door, Alfred, said Bundle. Now I've come here especially to do you a good turn. The police are after you. Oh, my lady. Alfred turned chalk white. I've come to warn you because you did me a good turn the other night, went on Bundle rapidly. There's a warrant out for Mr. Moskorowski, and the best thing you can do is to clear out of here as quick as you can. If you're not found here, they won't bother about you. Here's £10 to help you get away somewhere. In 3 minutes' time, an incoherent and badly scared Alfred had left 14 Hunstanton Street with only one idea in his head, never to return. Well, I've managed that all right, said Bundle with satisfaction. Was it necessary to be so? Well, drastic? Lorraine demurred. What? It's safer, said Bundle. I don't know what Jimmy and Bill are up to, but we don't want Alfred coming back in the middle of it and wrecking everything. Hello, here they are. They haven't wasted much time. It's probably watching round the corner to see Alfred leave. Go down and open the door to them, Lorraine. Lorraine obeyed. Jimmy Thesiger alighted from the driving seat. You stop there for a moment, Bill, he said. Blow the horn if you think anyone's watching the place. He ran up the steps and banged the door behind him. He looked pink and elated. Hello, Bundle, there you are. Now then, we've got to get down to it. Where's the key of the room you got into last time? It was one of the downstairs keys. We'd better bring the lot up. Right you are, but be quick. Time's short. Ow. The key was easily found. The baize-lined door swung back, and the three entered. The room was exactly as Bundle had seen it before, with the 7 chairs grouped round the table. Jimmy surveyed it for a minute or two in silence. Then his eye went to the 2 cupboards. Which is the cupboard you hid in, Bundle? This one. Jimmy went to it and flung the door open. The same collection of miscellaneous glassware covered the shelves. We shall have to shift all this stuff, he murmured. Run down and get Bill, Lorraine. There's no need for him to keep watch outside any longer. Lorraine ran off. What are you going to do? Inquired Bundle impatiently. Jimmy was down on his knees, trying to peer through the crack of the other cupboard door. Wait till Bill comes, and you shall hear the whole story. This is his staff work, and a jolly creditable bit of work it is. Hello! What's Lorraine flying up the stairs for, as though she'd got a mad bull after her? Lorraine was indeed racing up the stairs as fast as she could. She burst in upon them with an ashen face and terror in her eyes. Bill, Bill, oh, Bundle, Bill. What about Bill? Jimmy caught her by the shoulder. For God's sake, Lorraine, what's happened? Lorraine was still gasping. Bill, I think he's dead. He's in the car still, but he doesn't move or speak. I'm sure he's dead. Jimmy muttered an oath and sprang for the stairs. Bundle behind him, her heart pounding unevenly, and an awful feeling of desolation spreading over her. Bill dead. Oh no, not that. Please God, not that. Together, she and Jimmy reached the car, Lorraine behind them. Jimmy peered under the hood. Bill was sitting as he had left him, leaning back, but his eyes were closed, and Jimmy's pull at his arm brought no response. I can't understand it, muttered Jimmy. But he's not dead. Cheer up, Bundle. Look here, we've got to get him into the house. Let's pray to goodness no policeman comes along. If anybody says anything, he's our sick friend we're helping into the house." Between the three of them, they got Bill into the house without much difficulty, and without attracting much attention, save for an unshaven gentleman, who said sympathetically, "Genmon's at a couple," she, and nodded his head sapiently. "Into the little back room downstairs," said Jimmy. "There's a sofa there." They got him safely onto the sofa, and Bundle knelt down beside him and took his limp wrist in her hand. "His pulse is beating," she said. "What is the matter with him?" "He was all right when I left him just now," said Jimmy. "I wonder if someone's managed to inject some stuff into him. It would be icely done, just a prick." The man might have been asking him the time. There's only one thing for it. "I must get a doctor at once. You stay here and look after him." He hurried to the door, then paused. "Look here, don't be scared, either of you. But I'd better leave you my revolver. I mean, just in case. I'll be back just as soon as I possibly can." He laid the revolver down on the little table by the sofa, then hurried off. They heard the front door bang behind him. The house seemed very still now. The two girls stayed motionless by Bill. Bundle still kept her finger on his pulse. It seemed to be beating very fast and irregularly. "I wish we could do something," she whispered to Lorraine. "This is awful." A nodded. "I know. It seems ages since Jimmy went, and yet it's only a minute and a half. I keep hearing things," said Bundle. "Footsteps and boards creaking upstairs, and yet I know it's only imagination." "I wonder why Jimmy left us the revolver," said Lorraine. "There can't really be danger." "If they could get Bill," said Bundle and stopped. Lorraine shivered. "I know, but we're in the house. Nobody can get in without our hearing them. And anyway, we've got the revolver." Bundle turned her attention back again to Bill. "I wish I knew what to do. Hot coffee. You give them that sometimes." "I've got some smelling salts in my bag," said Lorraine, "and some brandy." "Where is it?" "Oh, I must have left it in the room upstairs." "We'll get it," said Bundle. "They might do some good." She sped quickly up the stairs, across the gaming room, and through the open door into the meeting place. Lorraine's bag was lying on the table. As Bundle stretched out her hand to take it, she heard a noise from behind her. Hidden behind the door, a man stood ready with a sandbag in his hand. Before Bundle could turn her head, he had struck. With a faint moan, Bundle slipped down, an unconscious heap upon the floor.